All right, guys, what's going on? It's Tuesday, the 15th of October, 2024. It is 9:50 a.m. here in Germany. This is the Insanity Report for today. And I've got a new amazing EU law that they want to bring out, right? So I've been telling y'all, the EU is basically a non-democratic body that governs all of the countries that belong to the EU. You know, they say that the countries still have their sovereignty, but, you know, they really don't unless they're willing to take it. And Germany, the country where I live, is not willing to take their sovereignty. They are lapdogs for the European Union, the European Parliament. And the European Parliament, you know, makes a lot of laws and a lot of regulations for all these countries that most of them just go along with. Germany goes along with absolutely everything. The politicians here love it because they don't have to take any accountability for anything they do, because when the citizens are pissed off about laws that they choose to enact, they can just go, well, look, guys, we can't really do anything about it because that's the EU. And as you know, we have to do everything they say. And so we really have no power. Sorry. That's how they kind of play it. And the EU has made a new, well, I don't know, I guess it's not a law yet, but this is what they want to do, right? This is what they want to do. They want to allow Afghani women to be able to migrate to Europe without any scrutiny, right? Zero. Like, they just want to let them in, okay? Now, not that they haven't been doing this already, but they at least pretend to, kind of vet the people that are coming across and try to claim asylum. Now, there's hundreds of thousands of people that come to Germany, to Germany and to the rest of Europe, that don't have any asylum rights. They're basically illegals, and they let them in too. So they're not really vetted either. So it's all just kind of like a political smoke and mirrors thing. Just like in America, what the politicians and the people that are in power, what they want is they want to be able to let in mass amounts of legal and illegal immigrants, just as many immigrants as possible. And some of them are checked and some of them are not. And some of them get refugee status or asylum status and some of them don't. But even if they don't, they still get to stay. Not only that, but basically taxpayers pay for their lives because they get put on immediate welfare programs, especially here in Germany. There are some countries that don't do that, but the EU now wants to, the EU knows that all of these countries, the citizens, are having massive issues with all of the immigration. It's too much. The citizens want it to stop. That's why right-wing populist parties are winning elections all over Europe. Here in Germany, the AfD, a party that no one in Germany would have ever thought would become very big because they're painted as right-wing extremists, even though they're not. But of course, that's the club they use to beat everyone over the head with when somebody doesn't agree with the official narrative. Same as the States, Donald Trump is Hitler, everybody's a Nazi, the spiel, Same thing they do there. And but the AfD has gotten serious wins in different states in Germany and probably will do very well in the general election coming up next fall. And that's because of mostly the immigration issue, right? There are terrorist attacks in these countries. People are getting raped, murdered, and killed in the countries. There's no place for, German families' children to go to kindergarten because the kindergarten spots are being taken up by illegal immigrants' kids. In the schools, the kids don't speak German, so it's causing problems for the learning process of regular German kids. It's just a big fucking clusterfuck. That's what it is. And instead of changing course, instead of trying to actually do something about it, the EU has now decided, you know what, we know everybody's pretty pissed about this immigration shit, and we know that we're losing our elections. We know that we're probably going to get kicked out of power. But what we're going to do, instead of listen to the people and listen to what the people want, what we're going to do is we're going to let even more migrants or immigrants into the country, and we're not going to even vet these ones. Like, we're going to tell the people, right, look, the Afghani women are probably one of the most persecuted groups, one of the most mistreated groups of people in the world, and that's true. I don't dispute that. That's probably true. Afghani women in Afghanistan don't really have an awesome life, right? Great. I get it, right? I do get it, but we cannot take on a whole bunch, millions of Afghani women, and without vetting them. And the thing about the vetting is, look, don't you think that once Afghani terrorists who are married hear about this new wonderful law that is going to come out in Europe, don't you think that they're going to go, hey, you know what? I'm going to send my wife to Europe, right? And she's not going to be checked out at all, so they're not going to know who she's married to. They're not going to know her background, because they're on purposely not going to want to put my wife through a bunch of hurdles in order to get in the country. That's what their plan is, right? That's the plan. I know it sounds mad, right? But that's the plan, right? And then when she gets there, she can call for the rest of her family to come over, right? Because just because Afghani women are persecuted, that doesn't mean necessarily they're all persecuted by their husbands. And another one of the crazy laws that we have here in Europe is, once somebody makes it into Europe, they can also call for the rest of their family to also come over. So you don't have just one immigrant coming over. No, you have one immigrant coming over, and then they just get to move their whole family on over as well. Illegal or legal, asylum or not, it's all the same. And so don't you think that some of the terrorist wives are going to fucking come here and then call for their terrorist husband, who also then just doesn't get vetted, to come into the country? I mean, it's complete madness, right? It's complete madness. These people are literally lunatics. They're psychopaths. Not the Afghani women, the politicians, the EU politicians that have decided, in the midst of the biggest immigration crisis that we've had in Europe, most of the citizens of Europe do not want this at all. They want the immigration actually to be put on hold completely until we sort it out and get people houses, enough fucking kindergarten spots. People aren't getting murdered on the street. They find out who everybody is. They've got to put a plug in the, in the drain here, because otherwise it's just never ending. And the people of every European country have basically made that clear by the voting they're doing. And yet these politicians, and that's why I say all the time, it's ideology running the show. Ideology is running the show, right? And that can't be. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason we don't let Scientology run the country in America. There's a reason why Tom Cruise, with his big fucking golden medallion, is not the president of the country. Because that would be insane. But it's just as insane to let this ideology run the country. Because they're obviously, they are not looking out for the interests of the people, and they clearly don't even want to try. They don't care. They know it's a problem. They know this will piss off everyone, right? They don't care. They just came out and announced, look guys, Afghani women need help. They need to be rescued from Afghanistan, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it quickly, and we're going to do it without vetting, without controls, without anything, and we can get them in here, put them and their kids on welfare, and that's where they'll stay. They'll be taken care of by you, the taxpayer, and that's what we're going to do. We're not asking you if we should do that. We're telling you we're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the king has spoken. That's pretty much the way they run shit. And so that's going to cause a lot of more problems. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to go through or not. What I do know is there are countries that are part of Europe, the European Union, that are saying no. Germany's not one of them. Okay, Germany's not one of them. But there are countries that are saying no. Poland and Holland and, Hungary, they're examples of countries that are saying, no, we are not letting a bunch of refugees into the country. We don't care if you call us racist. We don't care if you try to fine us, because that's what the European Union does. If you don't adhere to their decree, then as a country, they try to bribe you with money, or they try to take funding away from you in order to force you to your knees and do what they tell you. Now, these three countries are only three examples. There's many more, but they're the examples, the prime examples of countries that are saying, no, we're done. We're not doing it, right? Our people do not want a bunch of, unvetted Muslims in the country, whether they're women or men, it doesn't matter. We're going to put a stop to this until we get everything sorted out, and then we can see what happens in the future. It's insane, even though Afghani women probably will want to escape Afghanistan. It's insane to say as a country, hey guys, we've got a problem with illegal immigration, we've got a problem with legal immigration, we've got a problem with immigration from Muslim countries where the people that are coming do not share any one of our values. We have caliphate demonstrations and protests on the street, right? And we've got a problem with that. But instead of stemming the problem, instead of, stemming the blood flow here, we're going to go ahead and make it worse once again. And you're just going to have to deal with it, people. And you have to vote for us, because if you don't, you're a right-wing Nazi racist piece of shit. I mean, it's complete craziness. And I hope the people of Germany start waking up even more. And there's a lot waking up for sure. You see it. You see the results in the elections, in the state elections. But more people need to wake up. These people that are the establishment politicians that have been running the country for decades now, they need to all be pushed out, and the AfD in Germany needs to get a chance to get a grip on these issues. And the immigration thing is a big one. People have fucking had it. And I get that. Right? They've had it. And so the EU is going to decide, no, we know you've had it. We know your air limit, but we don't care. Just like the Biden administration in America, just like the Democrats, just like the left. It's the ideology. It's the ideology that blinds these people from reality and makes them into tyrants, because they believe wholeheartedly that they have the answers, and they don't want to do things democratically. They don't want to do things according to the rules and the laws. They want to force things down your throat because they say so and they're right. And that's not a way you can run a democracy. And I'm tired of all these countries calling themselves democracies. They're not even close, okay? They're not even close. And if they get their way, it's going to be better for us to live in Russia than it is going to be for us to live in Europe. With all the censorship and the clampdowns and the COVID laws and the whole craziness. You know what I'm saying? The whole totalitarian push that is on us has got to stop. And the only way to do that is get these people out of office. Now, I promised you guys, since we're on this topic anyway, I told you guys a couple of weeks ago maybe that the German establishment politicians are noticing that they are going to lose the next general election if they don't at least do something about the immigration problem. But their hands are tied, because they are bound to listen to what Europe says, even though they're really not. They could tell European Union, they could tell the European Parliament to pound sand, and they're just going to go their own way, especially Germany, because with no Germany, there's no EU. So Germany has a lot of leverage to not have to do what the European Union dictates, right? But they just don't do it because they're spineless, backboneless, ballless pussies. That's what they are. These politicians are pussies, right? And they need to be voted out. And the thing is, they, there's like I said, there was a terrorist attack last week. There was a caliphate demonstration this last weekend. There was another terrorist attack in Solingen, where an Islamist with a knife killed 3 people and wounded like 8 others at some sort of diversity, festival. It's just madness. It's madness, right? There's all kinds of things. We hear every day something new. You know what I mean? And it's just going too far. It's going too far. And so the politicians, the establishment politicians in Germany, are seeing on the state elections that their numbers are dwindling. I mean, to give you an idea, the 3 reigning parties right now in the federal government all together, are under 10%, approval rating. Under 10%. You know what I mean? Together. All 3 of the parties put together. So they're losing their ass, right? They're losing their ass. They know they're going to lose. And in a desperate attempt not to actually try to do something to change the public's mind, no, in a desperate attempt to try to once again fool dumb people that believe that they're actually doing something, they have now announced something that wasn't previously possible at all. They have announced they're going to do border checkpoints in order to keep illegal immigrants out of the country. Now, everybody in Germany knows, first of all, that is not possible, because Germany is like a state in America, right? There's borders around the European Union, or around Europe, both land borders and water borders, but there are no borders around Germany or any one of the countries in the European Union, right? So just like you can walk from Kansas to Missouri through the woods and not cross any state line, official state line, you can do the same thing here. So putting up border checkpoints in Germany isn't doing jack shit. And it wasn't going to do jack shit. It is a ploy to try to convince the public that is going to be voting next fall. It's a ploy to try to convince them, hey guys, look, we hear you. We're going to do something. We're going to do something about it. We're not going to let any more illegal immigrants across the border. We're going to do something about it. We're going to start doing border checkpoints. Now, when I heard them say this, I thought, yeah, well, how are they going to do that? First of all, the state police does not have the resources. They don't have the personnel, and there's just no fence or border wall around the country. So there is no way to stem the illegal immigration into the country. And even if you do cross the border through one of the checkpoints, if you say asylum, you're in. They can't turn you back. The next problem is that the country that they're coming from, which is not a hostile country, it is Luxembourg or Switzerland or Austria or Italy or France or whatever. If they're coming through there, those are countries that now say, because of Germany's open border policies, we're not going to take them back either, because they want to go to Germany to get into the welfare state. That's what they're doing. They're economic migrants for the most part. Many of them, right? Many of them. But if they claim asylum, then the country that they claim asylum in must take them on and must do a process to figure out if they have actually a legal claim to asylum or not. But even if they end up not having one, they still don't get deported because the countries that they're coming from aren't taking them back. So there's all kinds of excuses, and there are all kinds of reasons why things that are in the law, that are clearly stated in the law, are not possible, and they just keep making it worse and worse and worse and worse. So I told you guys that I would be on vacation, and that was last week or 2 weeks ago, and I would be driving to Poland. We'd be driving through the Czech Republic into Poland, and I would tell you if there are any border checkpoints and what that looks like, okay? Also, every 2 months, I drive to Luxembourg, which is 3 hours away from where I live, and that's also a bordering country to Germany. And I go there because I have to buy tobacco, cigarette tobacco, and coffee there, because it's half the price of what it is in Germany. See, that's the European Union for you. You know what I'm saying? Great. So, here, the same amount of tobacco that we would smoke in 3 months, or in 2 months, cost about $180, and there it cost $80. That's crazy. So that's not really a European Union, is it? Now, that's because Germany taxes the shit out of tobacco, and Luxembourg doesn't. Okay? So we drive to Luxembourg, we get tobacco for ourselves and for some friends, and we do that every 2 months. It's a 3-hour drive. We get our stuff, we get our coffee, we get our stuff there. But also a border. Now, I've been over that border, 100 times since I've lived here. There's never any checkpoint for anything. Not even to check on illegal smuggling of tobacco, because of course you're only allowed so much. Even though it's the European Union, guys, you can travel freely everywhere, but you can't go to Luxembourg and get more than X amount of cigarettes or X amount of tobacco and go back to Germany, because then you're tax evading. Yeah, that's the European Union for you, right? It's not a union at all. The only thing that we get out of it is that we get to travel without having to go through border checkpoints. That's about it. But the rules are different. Gas prices are different. Now, gas is also way cheaper in Luxembourg. It's actually maddening. It's actually crazy. Polish people and Romanian people and people from some of the East Bloc countries that are part of the European Union, they have to move on their own to come work in a country like Germany, because in their own country, they get paid jack shit. But they're part of the European Union, guys. Yeah. The Union. The Union. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, on our drive to Poland, like I said, we had to go through the Czech Republic. Now, when we took the highway. We weren't trying to take sneak routes or, the small town roads to get in there. We took the highway, and in the Czech Republic, or in Germany, after the border of the Czech Republic. So not even at the border. It's not like they're getting checked at the border so that if they're illegal, they can just say, no, you can't get in. No, they're checking 10 kilometers off the border. So what good does that do? Because even if the person doesn't know they have to say asylum, if they're there, they can't be denied access to the country because they're already fucking there, right? They're already there. So they can't deny that. Now, they can drive them back to the Czech Republic, but the Czech Republic will not force them to stay there, and they might not take them back. And the same counts for the other countries that are around Germany, is they're refusing to not allow people through, because the actual law is that the outside borders, so the outside borders of the European Union, that those must be hard checkpoints, right? That there must be fences and hard checkpoints and border controls on the outskirts, on the outside of the European Union, so that the illegals don't even get close to Germany or any one of the inside countries. See, like in the States, you have an open southern border, but if you didn't, illegal immigrants couldn't just get into Texas or California and go to any state that they want. But those rules are here in Europe are also not being enforced. They're also not checking the outside borders, and so therefore people get in somewhere on the outside and they want to go to Germany or they want to go to Austria, which really isn't their choice, right? They have to stay in the first safe haven country. Also a rule that's being broken all over the place. So it's just a shit show. It's a big giant fucking shit show. And so the countries that also don't want all these illegals, they're saying, hey, these people want to go to Germany. We're not going to stop them, right? So Germany is getting them, and they're doing these so-called checkpoints off the border by 10 kilometers, right? And so what it's doing, nothing. It's just pissing away resources, keeping cops off the streets where they could be trying to solve real crimes or stopping real crime. It's keeping them at the border checkpoints, which don't do anything. And once again, I drove to Luxembourg, and 10 kilometers away from the border, you see on the other side of the highway, you see the checkpoint, right? And you drive into Luxembourg, no checkpoint there. It's all right. They're not doing this. You know what I mean? Go there. I get my tobacco and I drive out the other side, right? And then I go through a small town to get back to the highway. But on the other side, there's no checkpoint at all. Nothing. So it's completely useless, right? On the way back from Poland, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So in Luxembourg, there's a checkpoint 10 kilometers off the border in Germany, and on the other side where you go through a little town to get back out into Germany, there's absolutely no checkpoint, not even a cop car, not even a single dude standing there or that will drive behind you and lead you to the checkpoint, you know what I mean, if they want to pull you over to check you out. Nothing. There's nothing at all there. So any illegal migrants or illegal immigrants could come in out of Luxembourg into Germany like with no problem whatsoever, regardless of the checkpoint, right? So we avoided the checkpoint altogether because we drove out the other side. It's real simple, right? And in the Czech Republic, it was kind of the same thing. See, they have these hard checkpoints there, also way off the border, so about 10 kilometers away from the actual border. There's the checkpoint, right? And we saw it on the way to Poland. On the other side, there was a huge line of people, huge line of trucks. We're like, oh man, Jesus, now we're gonna have to sit in line for 2 hours while we're waiting to get through this on the way back. And it doesn't do anything. It just harasses the regular people, right? So it doesn't really do anything. So we thought, okay, fuck, that sucks. So we left our Airbnb early so that we could try to get across the border from Poland into the from Czech Republic into Germany earlier so that we wouldn't have to stand in line all day. And that was on a Friday, right? And the fact is, this Friday happened to be a German, actually not. No, sorry, get ahead of myself again. The day before was a German holiday, like a national holiday. The day before, national holiday. But because there's a national holiday on a Thursday, a lot of people, and apparently that includes the cops, they just say, well, okay, Thursday's a holiday, I'm going to take Friday off too, so I have a long weekend, right? No problem. They're entitled to that. That's cool. That's cool. But because of this, likely because of this, when we came back, we got lucky because there was nothing. You know what I'm saying? There was one cop car. You know, when we were on the way into Czech Republic on the first place, there were like 20 cop cars and whole checkpoints and check locations and cops everywhere. And when we were driving back, because of this extended weekend, there were none. There was just one dude in a cop car that pulled the guy in front of us over. You know what I mean? And we just drove behind them through the checkpoint area and drove out the other side. Didn't get checked, nothing. Nobody behind us got checked. Nobody except for the one guy got checked. So it is completely useless. I told you guys I would give you an update on it. There's the update. Like I told you in the first video about it, it's going to be completely useless. It's going to be a complete waste of time. It's going to be a complete waste of resources. And it's utterly fucking ridiculous. So That's what it is, folks. That's what it is. I've been now to 2 different border crossings in Europe or in Germany, and both were basically leaky as a sieve, Swiss cheese, basically Swiss cheese that's very expensive and costs a lot of resources and people that could be doing a job somewhere else instead of this theater show that the politicians want done. See, again, just like in America, the establishment politicians are counting on dumbass people to vote for them again, because they know that for a very long time, for decades, that's worked. It's worked to just sell the public a false bill of goods. It's worked in America. It's worked in all of these Western countries that claim to be democracies, and the politicians see that works. They see they don't actually have to do something. They just have to say they're doing something, pretend they're doing something, and the dumbass people will just believe it and vote for them again. And that's what's been happening up till now. But I hope that also the German people wake up enough before next fall to vote for other people to get into office, to clear these fucking people out, these useless nitwits. They've got to go. Kamala Harris can't be president in America. It's got to be Trump. And after Trump gets elected, you got to start primarying your state representatives, local representatives, and keep paying attention. Because with the not paying attention is what got us here in the first place. It's unacceptable, guys. We know it, right? These people are taking us for a fucking ride. And I'm not the only person on the planet that sees it, right? Everybody sees it. And if you don't see it, but you open your eyes just a little, you'll see it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then it's your job to do something about it. The only thing that you can really do is be a participant in the political process, at least to a point, so that this has got to stop. We've got to get people in there that represent our interests and not go against our interests. That's what we got to do. So guys, that was the Insanity Report for today, Tuesday, the 15th of October. If you want to get all my content directly into your inbox, you can do that. I write articles, I do these videos, I make the weekly rant, I've got the Q&As, I make all kinds of content. If you want it all in your inbox directly when it comes out, all you've got to do is subscribe below to Substack. You can do it for free, you can do it for $5 a month. Either one is fine. I appreciate the $5 a month, no problem. I appreciate that. But it's also no problem if you subscribe for free. Then the content is all centralized, and you get it all in your inbox as soon as it comes out. You don't have to wait for a social media post or a notification that you might not ever get. Stuff like that. It's the easiest way for me to get a hold of you guys, and it's the easiest way for you to watch and get and read all my content. Do it. Subscribe below, Substack. If you're watching this on another channel like Rumble or X or YouTube or TikTok or whatever, then go ahead and follow me there. But please come to it'sallaboutlogic.substack.com and subscribe there. That would be much, much easier if you just did that. That would be much easier. I'd appreciate it. Guys, have a fantastic day. We'll see you guys tomorrow.